Hi everybody, I hope you've had a good break and welcome to our short winter session of American Gothic Literature Online. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We do have a very brief semester. This semester is just a little under 3 weeks long, so it's going to be pretty intensive. But I think you'll learn a lot, I hope, and have a little bit of fun along the way. You should be prepared to know that you will have a decent amount of reading over the next few weeks. There will be 13 stories. I think that's a nice number for American Gothic, kind of our lucky 13 stories that you will be reading over the course of the semester. 11 of those will be assigned during our regular course schedule. 2 of those stories will be for you to read for the final exam. Your final exam, you'll actually be looking at 2 more contemporary works of American Gothic and writing about how they might reflect some of the themes, ideas, and images that we've been discussing for some of our earlier Gothic works we'll be studying in the first couple of weeks. So you do want to schedule your time wisely for this short winter session. You'll be graded in the following way. There will be regular quizzes on the readings. Quizzes are worth 30% of your final grade, so you do want to make sure that you read and that you do read carefully. If you skim, you might not do so well on the quizzes. Make sure that you read everything pretty carefully. And if you do that and keep up with the readings, you ought to do pretty well on the quizzes. They are just short identification questions. But it is an important part of the grade, 30%. I do want to go ahead and tell you that the quizzes are timed. There will be notes about this in the modules, and before you take the quizzes, you'll be given certain instructions on them. But you do want to know that they are timed at 5 minutes. So you will want to have read and read carefully, because then you'll have a series of questions. Usually these are multiple choice, true, false, occasionally something like fill in the blank, but you definitely want to have read so that you can answer those questions fairly quickly in the span of 5 minutes long. Okay. Quizzes are one way you'll be graded. One of the most important ways you'll be graded in this class are our regular discussion forums. Discussion forums are worth 40% of your final semester grade. And so that's a pretty major amount. Discussion forums are much like in-class discussions, but here they're kind of a combination of in-class discussions like you'd have in an on-campus class, and also short writing assignments. You'll be asked to respond to certain questions about the text. You'll respond to these in hopefully thoughtful and interesting ways, and then you'll discuss some of these topics amongst your fellow students. This is where we'll really, hopefully, even in this short span of time, sort of start to get to know one another. I'll be able to see sort of how you think and your ideas and interpretations and suggestions about the stories as you read them. And you'll be able to have some good back and forth conversations with your fellow students. Okay, so quizzes are worth 30%, discussion forums are worth 40%, and then the final 30% of your overall semester grade will be your final exam score. Okay, the final exam you'll be given in week 2 of our course. You'll start to be given some instructions about what to expect for that and prepare you for that. The only sort of really slightly longer writing assignment you'll have will be that final exam. It's sort of a final exam / essay, we'll say, that you'll have, and that'll be due towards the very end of the short semester. You'll look for those instructions in the second week of our course, and it'll give you some ideas about what to do in writing that short paper for our final week. Again, this is an intensive course because it is short, but if you keep up with the material, you do the readings and everything, and you pace yourself well, you should do fine this semester. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you have to say and think about some of these sometimes strange and interesting works that we'll be looking at over the course of the American Gothic. Some of this work is going to be sort of scary, horror themed. Some of it will be things that you have maybe a passing familiarity with, or even a good familiarity with. We'll be looking at some works that are very well known, like Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and then looking at a few more works that are maybe slightly lesser known, or that may be a little bit more obscure, touching on this theme. So as you get into this course, one thing you should know is that the course is set up to open a week before the class officially begins. The university has us do this, so if you are entering early, the class will actually be available to you on December the 29th, even though the course doesn't officially open until a week later. But if you do pop in early, feel free to go ahead and get started with our work and with particularly Module 1, which is where you'll find the initial assignments for you to start with. As you begin the course, I urge you to read very carefully the folders that are and pages that are at the top of your learning module sections. You'll see folders labeled things like course guide and information. In that folder, you'll find things like our grading policy, something you'll certainly want to look for. We just discussed it, but you might want to look at that again. You'll see various copies of the syllabus. You'll see in that folder just some course objectives and things to help you sort of get started with the ideas behind our class and sort of what will be expected of you. You'll also find a help folder. There's some really good things within that folder that you might need over the course of the semester. There's a link to where you can find technical support. There's some suggestions about how you upload papers in the class. The only time you'll really need to do that is with that final exam, but you may want to take a quick look at the page about how to upload written assignments if you're unfamiliar with how to do that, and it'll tell you exactly how you can upload papers for a course like this. You'll definitely want to read the page called If You Have a Technical Problem. Now, you should be aware in this class that I am not in charge of technical problems in this class. In other words, if you have a problem with something that involves the computer or the computer system, I'm the wrong person to contact for that. I'm in charge of the content of the class, the lectures, the discussions, the stories that we'll be reading, and things like that of that place. But if you have technical problems or technical issues, you need to contact Brockport's ITS technical support, and they'll help you with that. If you have problems loading something like one of our PowerPoint presentations or an audio presentation, or if you have any problem uploading or downloading anything, contact ITS technical support, and they're the ones who can help you with that. You'll again find that contact information both on that page that says if you have a technical problem and also in our help folder. So two places to look if you do run into any technical problems. So if you send me an email asking about some sort of technical problem or saying, oh, I had a problem while I was taking a quiz and some sort of technical problem happened, I'm not going to be able to help you with that because I'm not the person to talk to or to discuss with that. If you have a question about an assignment or about a reading or something like that, I'm the person that you should address that to, and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. On that note, we also have towards the top of our learning module section open discussion forum that'll be open the whole class, which is called Raise Your Hand and Ask. Now, if you have a question about an assignment, you can post on this discussion forum. Just ask me a short question. I'll be happy to respond to them. A question about any of the assignments that we have. If you have a question, it's probably pretty likely that other students may have that same question. So we'll keep this forum open, and you may just want to check in there every now and then. If somebody's asked, if you have a question, you may look at that forum and find out somebody's already asked that question and gotten a response, and then you'll be able to read it and see what was said. But we'll leave that forum called Raise Your Hand and Ask at the top of our learning module section. It's just like it says, in class, if you have a question, you raise your hand, the instructor answers it, and that's what that forum is for, and it will be available through our whole semester. Okay. Now, the modules. We will have what are called modules in this course. There will be 3 of them. One will open each week. In these modules, you will find your specific assignments, you'll find your specific lecture material, and you'll find everything that we will be working on over the course of the class. Now, modules will open at the beginning of each of the 3 weeks that we'll be taking this semester. There will be, of course, then 3 modules in all. Module 1 is already open. If you'd like to go ahead and get started on that, feel free to do so. Please pay particular attention to deadlines. Read your syllabus. When you open that module, you'll see several things there at the top of that module that'll help you with knowing your deadlines and making sure that you are aware of what's expected of you for that module and what you'll need to do. There will be a module outline at the top of each module, and if you look at the outline there, it'll tell you assignments and due dates. It'll give you some information about the topic of that week and what we'll particularly be studying, paying attention to. You'll also have a downloadable sort of mini syllabus for that particular module and for that particular week that you'll see at the top of the module section. You can download a copy of that. It'll just have the week's assignments as a checklist, and you can check things off as you accomplish them and as you get through with them. It's a very good way to keep track of your assignments for that particular module and that particular week. If you want, you can stick it on your refrigerator or put it by your desk, but it's just something that'll make you know sort of exactly like what will be expected of you, and that will help you make sure that you don't miss an assignment. It's particularly, again, important in such a short semester because there will be a limited number of assignments and a limited number of things that your grade will be based on. So you don't want to miss anything. If you do, that could be, serious repercussions according to your grade. So I would definitely download a copy of that checklist on the module and pay close attention to it. There will be readings assigned during the week. Those are listed again on your syllabus, on the module outline, the module checklist, so you can see exactly what you'll be reading during that week. Usually in each module there will be 1 to 2 quizzes on the readings for that week. Sometimes I'll divide them up so that there'll be 2 quizzes each on a certain section of readings. It'll tell you in advance what that quiz will be on, which readings it'll cover. On the quizzes, there will be usually 4 to 5 questions on those quizzes. Again, they are timed, as I mentioned before, and usually the questions are multiple choice, true, false, sometimes fill in the blank. Discussion forum assignments will have very specific deadlines. Usually on those you will have important deadlines on them where you'll post a first message, and then later you'll come back and be required to post a second message on those forums. You'll also be asked on those forums to respond a certain number of times to your fellow students, where you ask them questions or respond to some of what they've said. You want to pay close attention to the requirements for the discussion forums. Full instructions are given on those assignments. Make sure you pay close attention to when the deadlines are for them and post accordingly. Again, your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions about whatever topic or question that discussion forum is asking. There's also in our modules our extras folder. Now our extras folder is listed as optional. It's not something that you absolutely have to do, but I would strongly recommend that you go into the extras folder and take a look around and look at some of the things there, read over some of the material that might be listed in the extra folders. Actually, some of our more fun and interesting things are in the extras folder. And what I'll tell you about that is that even though it's optional, if the Angel system will show me who's accessed things, how long they've accessed for them. I can sort of get a good idea about who's actually been looking at things and who's not. And if you reference these and sort of show some knowledge of some of what's in the extra section on things like our discussion forums, it's a good way to help improve and increase your overall class participation score, which is also, again, part of that discussion forum, 40% of your grade. So have a look around in the extra section. I've tried to put some fun things in there. Sometimes there'll be little movie trailers or movie clips. There'll sometimes be short writings that give you some background about some of the stories or works that we're looking at that week. And if you do that, it's, again, a good way to get some bonus points or extra points on your participation score. So I'd strongly recommend it. We're going to be looking at some really, again, some good fun readings. You might get maybe a scare or two, maybe not, depending on how you feel about the Gothic works. And we'll particularly be looking at the early history of the Gothic in our first couple of weeks. Then we'll let you apply some of that knowledge to, again, a few bit more modern works there at the very end of the class. Again, so it's short, but hopefully sweet, hopefully fun. I'm again looking really forward to working with all of you. So my advice to you now is to go ahead and get into our learning module section and go to that first module after you've read some of the help folder, the course information folder, etc. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you online and getting started. So if you have any questions, you can contact me through Angel email or on our Raise Your Hand and Ask forum. If not, I will see you in our upcoming discussion forum assignments. So I'll see you there. Bye-bye.